Hi. So I said I would show up every Monday to try and build more community because last week was so fun, and the conversation that we got to have during the week and like on DMs was so great for my soul, and so I'm glad to be back. I put out a question. Hi, Jesslyn. I put out a question this week on my social media, and there were a few great ones. Well, they were all really great, easy ones though. But I just picked my favorite three or four. So the first one is, how often do you do yoga, and do you do any other workouts? Hi, Nicole. Yeah, I do. I do yoga about 3 times a week, but I generally do, and I always stretch like in the morning. So when I do my meditation, I'm never just like static in my pose. Sometimes I am, but more often than not, I kind of do a little yoga while I meditate. So I do that, and then I lift weights and do like a cardio kind of HIIT class training. Like 4 or 5 times a week. It's my, I was a yogini for so long that I realized I needed a little bit of strength. And so maybe 4 years ago, I hired a personal trainer, and I just got after getting strong, and I really like it. I enjoy it now. So it's very good to balance my yoga obsession. So I do that. The next question is, are you vegan? No. I eat all the things all the time. There are things that I prefer, like I would do a tofu probably more than I would a beef, but that's not an ethical stance. Unfortunately, I don't know where you stand on that, but this is not an ethical issue for me, but it's just more of a preference and a health thing. So I do a lot of hemp-based and soy-based products instead of meat oftentimes. What is the biggest thing? This is what I want to settle on today. What is the biggest thing you're learning right now? And I am learning forgiveness. And here's the thing about forgiveness is, I swear, I'm watching this sermon series from Transformation Church out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you do not, I'm going to link the sermon series here because it's incredible. It's 10 weeks. And he's calling it Forgiveness University, but the chant is FU. So every week he does Forgiveness University, but then he does like Forgiveness Uncovered, right? So it's FU. So every week it's just a really fantastic series. However, he says it's a master level PhD course in forgiveness. And what I realized after the first 10 minutes of his very first sermon is that I had no idea what forgiveness was. I had no idea the tenet, the foundation, the pillar on which our complete connection to God and to what God has done for us hinges on this idea of forgiveness. Now, I'm not talking about Sunday school. I'm talking about darkness of the soul, dark nights of the soul. I'm talking about that kind of forgiveness, that kind of thing where we have to face ourselves and accept ourselves and grieve ourselves and embrace ourselves. Like that's the kind of forgiveness I'm talking about. So that's what I'm learning most now. Forgiveness, this last week, it was week 5, and he spent the first 4 weeks just really defining forgiveness, understanding it, looking at it through the lens of Christ, just the atonement and the forgiveness and all of that. And then in week 5, he said, let's get to work. And the first work was on you. So he said, forgive yourself. And so it's been interesting because when you forgive yourself, when you're on a true, at least what I'm learning is that when we're on a true endeavor of forgiveness of self, we have to embrace a practice of stillness, because our inability to face ourselves, at least for me, has manifested in so many strategies outside of myself to get me distracted enough from coming inside of myself. And so I want to encourage you with this idea of what I'm learning, whatever you're learning, we have to get still enough to receive a new message. We have to become aware in our stillness what diverts our attention. what keeps us busy, what keeps us outside of ourselves, right? So we sit down, get still, look at those things and go, what are they preventing me from feeling and sensing, right? What are these distractions preventing me from actually embracing and embodying? So stillness is whatever you're working on. I just want to encourage you to develop a discipline of stillness. So meditation for sure, but even just stilling the body and sensing into the feeling. I think there's a lot of feeling in forgiveness, and I also think it's a choice. So that's what I'm learning too, is that I'm never going to feel ready or right. That person will never, say the right thing enough. It's just a choice that I get to make to free them and ultimately free myself. So that's what I'm learning. And then the last question was, what books are on your must-read list? I love a book called Boundless. It was life-changing for me. We did a study through the Holy Yoga Foundation, and that was incredible. It changed my worldview, changed my life, so I loved that. And then Power versus Force. It's a David Hawkins book. It's a research book. It changed my life. I read it on the regular just to refresh, because a lot of my work is based on this idea of power versus force. So that's a must read for me. And then, of course, I would be remiss not to mention the Bible, right? That's a daily read. A multiple times a day read for me, just on my phone. I'm just always, whatever I'm in, I always try and go to the Word and try and figure out, what he's saying here. So it's a must read for me too. So this week, if you watch my story and you want to know something, I'd love to, and I just wind up DMing with everybody, right? We wind up building community, and that's really my intention. So it's great to have you. Thank you for being here. Oh, Stephanie. Bye. I was leaving and you just got here, so I'm glad you stopped by, but you'll have to watch it later. All right, you guys, I hope you're amazing. Hi, Mr. Coles, what's up? I love your handle, Graybeard Trail Pirate. That's my favorite. Oh, I love you guys. Have an awesome day. Great to be with you. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.